Okay, in this video we're going to look at manipulating imported motion capture data. Now I've got a project here where I already have a Toxicon, my old friend the Toxicon, set up. And I've got some motion capture on him where he's staggering up a hill, drawing a weapon, and that's the animation. That just loops round and round and round. Now, the problem with that is that that's literally as my motion captures come in. And if I have a look at the project window here, here is my bone hierarchy. All this lot here. And as you can see in the project window, I've got nothing, nada. Now, that makes it extraordinarily difficult to do anything with that if I want to manipulate that in any way. Fortunately, there are a couple of methods of working with that. Just to remind you, I've got my bone hierarchy selected there. If I go up under the animation menu here, I can use the offset editor. Now, there's some stuff in here that will do pretty weird things if you apply it to motion capture data, but you have the opportunity to offset the time, so you can move that animation later or earlier in the project, depending on whether you put a positive or a negative number in there. You can also scale the time, and it has a second box here that says around. Let's just say that in my animation, around about this point here, at 8 seconds in, I want that part of that animation to coincide with something else that's happening in the scene. Then I can put 8 seconds in here, and then when I scale the time on that, the keyframes, as it were, at 8 seconds will remain where they are, and everything will scale either side of that. So you can make sure that that particular part of the animation still coincides with whatever else is happening in your scene. Now this is great, and the slightly OCD part of my personality likes the fact that this is sort of calculating and mathematical, but it's not particularly intuitive, and there is a more intuitive way of manipulating the motion capture data. And the way to do that is to select your hierarchy, and let me just show you something else first. If I just bring up the information window on one of my bones in my skeleton, light aircraft going over, lovely. You can see that I've changed the position keyframing to explicit, and there's a very good reason for doing that. Now, if you go onto the preferences and have a look on the keyframe tab, in the channel type area here, you have the option of setting either implicit or explicit on your channels. This only works for new objects, so it's worth doing this before you set up your bone hierarchy, before you bring in your skeleton into your model. I didn't, so I just went through and just changed them all by hand, which actually only took a minute. So if I select my skeleton like that, and go under the animation window and go and use fit selected objects to curve. Now it's going to ask for the start frame, and it's selected where I am at the moment. I want it to go from 0, and I want my maximum fit distance here. I want that very small value, because I want my keyframes to be very accurately placed on the timeline. So if I do that, electric image will just have a little think about that, and voila. It has now changed my motion capture data into keyframes. Now this means that I can manipulate it. So I may want to sorry, another window flashing at me off the screen there. So I may want to take areas of this and move them on, or one of the things that happens in with motion captured data is at the end he'll go back into his default T position, and it might be that I want him to do something else. I might just want to extend that animation out just by animating by hand. I mean, this particular figure in the scene where I'm going to use him in my movie, he's on the brow of a hill and he's quite small. So I would actually get away with and I will actually put some hand animation on the end of that. But the other thing I can do as well, and this is really groovy, if I just bring my project window back, if I press the Command key whilst I drag a selection across there, you can see that turns blue. And the other thing I want to do is just move that down slightly, select all of these keyframes like so, and I've got a few more off the bottom there. Just shift and select those like that. Now note that I have the timeline is at the beginning there, and in the same way with the offset editor, that you can choose a point in the animation to be fixed. You can do that by selecting by moving to that appropriate point on the timeline. I'm going to have mine move scale around 0, and again, if I press the Command key and if I just grab one of these end keyframes with the Command key pressed down, look at that. So I can make my Toxicon go up the hill in a rather more sprightly fashion in half the amount of time. So if I play the animation, there we go. Where's he gone? Oh yeah, I've got 5 seconds and no animation, I forgot. There we go. If I want to clear this selection up here, just press the Command key and just move to a different point in the timeline, and we're done. And there we go. It's a nice, simple, easy way to change motion capture data by transforming it into keyframes. Enjoy.